Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 20, chapter entitled The Rainy Season and Autumn in Vrindavan. Text 40. Please repeat after me. Nishchala Ambuhu Abhut Tushnim Samudraham Sharat Agame Atmani Uparate Samyak Munihi Vyuparatam Agamaham Nishchalambhurabhutushnim Nishchalambhurabhutushnim Samudra Sharadagame Samudra Sharadagame Atmanyuparate Samyan Atmanyuparate Samyan Munirvyuparatagamaha Munirvyuparatagamaha Nishchalambhurabhutushnim Samudra Sharadagame Atmanyuparate Samyan Munirvyuparatagamaha Nishchalambhurabhutushnim Samudra Sharadagame Atmanyuparate Samyan Munirvyuparatagamaha. Atmanyuparate Samyan Nishchalambhurabhutushnim Samudra Sharadagame Matajis. Nishchalam, motionless. Ambuhum, its water. Abhut, became. Tushnim, quiet. Samudraham, the ocean. Sharat, of the fall season. Agame, with the coming. Atmani, when the self. Uparate, has desisted from material activities. Samyak, completely. Munihi, a sage. Vyuparata, giving up. Agamaham, recitation of the Vedic mantras. Translation and purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. With the arrival of autumn, the ocean and the lakes became silent, their water still. Just like a sage who has desisted from all material activities and given up his recitation of Vedic mantras. Purport: one recites ordinary Vedic mantras for material promotion, mystic power, and impersonal salvation. But when a sage is completely free of personal desire, he vibrates the transcendental glories of the Supreme Lord exclusively. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vikasa Swami Nitinamine. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarane. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Nishchalambur abhut tushnim samudra sharadagame atman viparate samyan munir viparatagamaha. Once again, translation. With the arrival of autumn, the ocean and the lakes became silent, their water still, just like a sage who has desisted from all material activities and given up his recitation of Vedic mantras. Hare Krishna. So, we are continuing with the description of the autumn season entering in Vrindavana. And actually, a very beautiful purport Srila Prabhupada has given for this verse in light of Bhagavata. So, in few minutes we will go to that. So, here, now in today's verse we are seeing how when the autumn arrived, what happened to the oceans and lakes. So, this description is given. And if we remember a few verses before in the same chapter, today we are seeing 40th verse. In the 14th verse, the description of same oceans and lakes is given what happened during the rainy season. So today this shloka is describing about what happened during autumn season. So very nice comparison we can see from these two verses. So there Shukadeva Goswami is explaining that in the rainy season time, what happened to the lakes and rivers in Vrindavan, lakes and ocean in the Vrindavan. And we all know there is no any ocean in Vrindavan. We have lakes there, we have rivers, but there is no ocean. So Srila Jiva Goswami explains that when Shukadeva Goswami is mentioning about ocean, the word we see here, Samudraha, the ocean is given. So in that 14th verse explanation, Srila Jiva Goswami is explaining that to give the understanding about the nature of the monsoon, Shukadeva Goswami is using the word ocean, Samudra, and also when Samudra, the word is given, it also means like the ocean. It's not just ocean. Even that when you want to describe like the ocean, then the word Samudra is used. So Jiva Goswami is giving explanation that in Vrindavana, lakes are so huge also, very big, looking like a ocean. So then he describes in that 14th verse, when the rainy season came, what happened to those rivers, lakes and oceans. We know, when rain comes, rivers gets flooded and it rushes to the ocean. In the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna was showing the universal form to Arjuna, especially when Arjuna was seeing the ferocious Kala Rupa, Arjuna was describing that Kala Rupa and he was asking, so what kind of form is this? Who are you? Please tell me, who are you? And then when he's looking at the form, he is saying, I am seeing all the great warriors from both the sides, from the opposite side also, like Bhishma, Drona, and even warriors from our side, they are also rushing into your mouth like how the rivers rush into ocean. So the same comparison we can see. They all were rushing in the Kala Rupa, the form Kalosmi. Krishna says after that, when Arjuna asked that question, Krishna says Kalosmi. I am that time, the form which is all devouring. So Arjuna is seeing everybody is rushing into the mouth of that form, and even he is seeing that several heads are getting stuck in the teeth of that Kala Rupa. So much rush of water happens in the rivers during the rainy season when they reach the ocean. And even Today in our life also we can see, and last few days this is what headlines going on, especially in US, America, regarding this Texas flash flood. So generally in this July month, even here also locally we are seeing throughout this 2025, this year summer, daily we were getting rain, unexpected some climatic changes or whatever. Kali Yuga is progressing, seasons are changing. So in Texas, what happened on July 4th, just a few days back, same July month, for past 25 years, they were, whenever rain comes, we have the method of measuring. So every month, entire month, the rainfall used to be just for 2 inches from the ground level. So, but just on this July 4th, just within few hours, the rain was measured for 10 inches. 2 inches is this much, and 10 inches. And 2 inches rain comes throughout the month. But here 10 inches of rainfall came within few hours. That means how much rain used to pour for 4 or 5 months, that much quantity of rainfall just came within few hours. Then immediately what happens? The water level in the rivers gets increased. So morning 3 o'clock, something like that, that Texas river, I don't know the name of that river, starts with G something. So the average height of the river was 10 feet. But within 1 hour, the average height raised up to 30 feet height. So much rain, so much water, so much flood, and immediately everything is rushing to the ocean, and then it destroys everything on the way, devours everything on the way. So same thing happens to a unsteady sage or a person who is not self-realized, to put in a simple terms. One whose senses and mind, when they are uncontrolled, when they are not controlled, the rivers like desires or the rivers like sense objects, it agitates the mind and senses of a non-self-realized person. So this is what given in the comparison in the 14th verse. And we see this mind is, in Bhagavatam also, Narada Muni, he compares very nicely this mind to a prostitute. He says, if somebody is married to a prostitute, what will be his condition? You imagine. Prostitute, daily she goes from one person to another person, and this fellow, the husband of that prostitute, will never know what will happen to him. And that is what we are seeing in daily newspapers also. How many illicit affairs are there, and then what is happening to the husbands. So same with the wife also, but I am just giving example from what Narada said. So when that polluted, unfixed prostitute, if somebody has as wife, then what will be his condition? Same thing happens to everyone whose mind is uncontrolled. Our mind should be fixed to one Pati, who is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan, who is our master. Jivera Swarupa Hoi Krishnera Nityadas. But what happens when the mind is uncontrolled? Mind is running from one object to another, so fast. Therefore, Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, he mentions mind as the one's best friend also, at the same time best enemy also. Mind could be one's worst enemy also. When your enemy is coming from outside, you can close the door, close the gate, have several protections, like modern days houses, how many gates they have, like that you can try to protect. But when your enemy is inside of your house and posing as your very best friend, but doing all the mess in your life, then what would be your condition? That's what happening when one's mind is completely out of his control. When one is under the control of the mind, that is what happens. And jumping from one place to another. Several places Prabhupada mentions about this Kalidas, poet Kalidas, about his Kumara Sambhava, or few examples Prabhupada used to give. So once Kalidas, we know his background, he was even not able to speak properly, he was made fool out of it, and then later by the mercy of Goddess Durga. Therefore, his name became Kalidas. So she gave him power, and then he was able to compose very beautiful compositions. And he gave these 4 great literatures, which begins with Asti, Kaschid, Vag, Visheshaha, like that. So once what happened, a king asked Kalidas to compose a verse describing 10 things which are unsteady. Whatever is unsteady in this world, use those things, compose a, compose one, some text, compose a poem kind of. And the king gave him one more order, that everything should starts with Ma. So, how long we will take time to think, 10 items. But Kalidas, even before the question was finished, he immediately composed. He was ready with the answer. And out of the 10 things, what he mentioned, the first thing was mind. So then he gives so many other things. Madhupaha, he says. Ma, wealth, he says. Markata, monkey, he says. All these things you can see how they are chanchala, they are unsteady, they are constantly moving. Wealth is constantly moving from one place to another, one place to another, one place to another. And monkey, we know, this example, how many times we have heard about our mind. Madhupa is given. And first thing he mentions is mind. So same thing we see in Bhagavad Gita also when Arjuna speaks to Krishna. Krishna, very difficult to control mind. I have all kinds of weapons. I can stop even the wind. But controlling the mind is very difficult. Then Krishna gives a solution. And here also we see, when in the 14th verse we saw, when your mind and senses are uncontrolled, what happens, how much agitation, and then complete mess. There is no peacefulness. How there can be peace when your mind is completely unsteady? Not at all possible. So when mind is unsteady, when it is running from one place to another, then we don't have one fixed destination, one fixed goal. Bahushaka hi anantascha buddhayo vyavashayinam. So bahushaka, so many things will be there. Then there is no assurance of peace. There is no way that you will get peace. So therefore, one has to become self-realized. One has to control the mind. And here we see a person who has controlled his mind and senses. What happens when the same rush happens, when the same river with such a heaviness, it comes and hits the ocean, then still what happens? With the arrival of autumn, the ocean and the lakes, they became silent. Prabhupada, in one of the purport, I will try to show here also, in Bhagavad Gita, he mentions that in 270, this is from here, okay, anyway we'll go. Prabhupada says that for a person who is self-controlled, for him also same thing happens. Same sense objects are around, same agitation comes, but he doesn't succumb to the situation. So here it's very nicely mentioned how a sage deals it with, he becomes silent. So then immediately we may think, become silent, then there should be, cessation of all activities, nothing. Shunyavad, that is what mentioned here. We should not think of anything, everything should become zero. But this is what I was mentioning. Prabhupada very nicely, he mentions about this in light of Bhagavata. Prabhupada says, and the translation also you can see, with the inauguration of the autumn season, the rough sea becomes calm and quiet. Just like a philosopher after self-realization who is no longer troubled by the modes of nature. So when we read this calm and quiet, silent, naturally, we go to that conclusion. But here Prabhupada begins the purport very nicely. He says that the result of self-realization is cessation of the storms of desire and lust, which are products of modes of ignorance and passion. So when one is uncontrolled, then the storms of desire comes, lust, so much is there, which are products of modes of ignorance and passion. This cessation of storm does not mean that the sea becomes inactive, because we cannot be inactive at any point of time. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita also, not even a single moment soul can be inactive. So Prabhupada writes very nicely, when the storm subsides, then what happens? The work of navigation can take place smoothly. So Prabhupada says, then there can be travel of ships, you can shift goods, and then passengers can go from one place to another. So much activities are there. It is not that once you cease material activities, then everything becomes zero. As Mayavadis they think. It is not like that. Then only actually the real variety begins. Spiritual world is full of variegatedness, full of variety. They are thinking, if I become Hare Krishna, if I start practicing spiritual life, then what is there? Then one day Divya Prabhu, when he was giving class, he was mentioning, when generally we say that you practice spiritual life, you can become peaceful, then immediately people they think that means I should not do any activities, I should be simply sitting, lazy. But it is not like that. Spiritual life is full of activities. 24 hours is not enough. Those who are in Brahmachari ashram, we know that 24 hours is not enough. There are lot of services are waiting. And even if we want to escape, temple commander is behind us to give with the services. And Prabhupada, in some places we will see how much bliss it gives. Actually, in the beginning stage of devotional life, one receives bliss from the service. Prabhupada writes, and then he says, in the matured state, one derives bliss from the pure love of Godhead. In the beginning stage, just by engaging in service, we get bliss. And therefore, there are lot of varieties, lot of activities are there. So Prabhupada continues, according to the Indian system of navigation, there is a ceremony on the seashore known as the Coconut Day. On the Coconut Day, the sea is offered a coconut because she has become peaceful. And from that day on, the sea-going vessels sail to the foreign countries. The three modes of nature divide human activities into two different spheres, one external and the other introspective. As long as man is dominated by the modes of ignorance and passion, he is active externally in desire and lust. So this is what happens. They think, materialistic people, they think, outside world, their only activities are there. Whole day, how much they are running without any stoppage, overtime working, day and night working. For what? Because they are dominated by the modes of ignorance and passion. They are thinking, I will get happiness from that, I will become peaceful from that. But Prahlad Maharaj mentions, no, because it's not possible. You can see you can see the history, you can see the past, you can see the present, and same thing will happen in the future. Matirna Krishne Paratasvatova Mito Pibatyeta Grihavratanam Adhanda Gobir Vishatam Tamishram. Adhanda Gobir Vishatam Tamishram Punaf Punash Charvita Charvananam. Because they are simply chewing the chew. They are thinking, no, if I continue this activity, one day I will succeed. Maybe in the past they didn't get success, but for sure I will get. But Prahlad Maharaj is saying, you are simply chewing the same which has been already chewed before. So they are acting out of these two different spheres. They are acting in the external one, being dominated by the modes of ignorance and passion. Men absorbed in desire and lust are called asuras, and they are always chasing after women and money. For the sake of women and money, the asuras exploit every source of economic development. As a result of this asuric civilization, the entire human society becomes like a stormy sea with no trace of peace and prosperity. So therefore, there cannot be any peace in such a society. Too much of an external view of the world gives rise to an overly large scale and difficult type of industry and trade known as Ugra Karma. The word Ugra means hard or difficult, and Karma means task. The development of hard and difficult industrial undertakings always hinders the progressive cultivation of the human spirit. So this is what happening. This all other activities, they are stopping the progressive cultivation of the human spirit, for which the human life is given, for which it has to be used. Everything is completely blocked. And Prabhupada continues it by saying, Hasuric leaders of the society, they never retire from such lustful undertakings unless killed by the laws of nature. For them, there is no question of retirement or of cultivating the human spirit. But men in the mode of goodness have an introspective mind. So now Prabhupada starts speaking about the second variety, introspective. After a regulative struggle for existence, they retire at a ripe old age and engage their time in cultivating the human spirit. According to the Varnashrama principle, it is compulsory that one retire after the age of 50 without considering other circumstances. Business offices close at a fixed hour no matter what balance of work remains. Even if there is so much of work remains, we know in big offices, companies, even if some courier or wherever you go, immediately they tell 5 o'clock, closing time, sir. We cannot do. Whatever serious that job may be, we cannot do. It's closing time. Similarly, Prabhupada is mentioning that in Varnashrama principle, that Panchashordvam Vanang Rajet. So after the, one retire, one should compulsorily that it is compulsory that one retire after the age of 50 without considering other circumstances. And similarly, after the age of 50, one must retire from the active external life and devote oneself to the introspective cultivation of the human spirit. This retirement must be compulsory so that foolish old men will no longer disturb the peaceful progress of spiritual culture. In the modern democratic government, no one should be elected after the age of 50. Otherwise, the storm of the ocean of nescience cannot be stopped to allow the ships and boats to sail back to Godhead. The greatest enemies of progressive spiritual culture in human society are the old fossils of political parties who are blind themselves and who try to lead other blind men. They bring about disaster in a peaceful human society. The members of the younger generation are not as stupid as the old politicians, and therefore by state law, the foolish old politicians must retire from active life at the age of 50. So here Prabhupada takes the purport to another level. So he brings why the entire society is also misdirected. Because of the leaders, those who are blind, and they are trying to lead the blind men. So here Prabhupada mentions that younger generations, about younger generation, but unfortunately we see they are also blind. So they need guidance. They need guidance. Both the so-called leaders in the society and also the younger generations, they need guidance. Therefore, this training begins from very young age. Because after reading this purport, then one may say that Prabhupada mentions here, or even Varnashrama system says that after the age of 50, if one shifts from the first perspective to the second perspective, from the external life to the introspective life, as we read here, after 50, one should give up everything and then one should devote life to spiritual life. Then immediately people, they will ask, so yes, okay, I will practice devotional life, spiritual life, after the age of 50, I will take it later. What is the need for me to practice at very young age? How many times we see parents when their sons, especially when they try to come for programs, either it be youth class or whatever, immediately they ask, why you have to go for that at this point of time in your life? So when we started this youth program, first time one boy came to stay Saturday night, and his mother couldn't believe. Is he really going to temple to stay overnight? She couldn't believe. She called him, and then he's explaining to her in normal call, not video call. So trying to explain her that actually I came to temple, ma, I'm staying here. Tomorrow morning we have program. 4:30 they have Arati. I want to attend. Therefore overnight I'm staying. Mother didn't believe at all. She's telling, give to somebody who's staying in the temple. I want to speak with them. Then I spoke. Still she didn't believe. Then I had to make a video call and then show her. See, here is actually he's staying. Because for them, two reasons that, because younger generation generally they don't get attracted to this path. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschit yatati siddhaye. So out of even normal human beings in the sense, average human being, it is difficult, and what to speak of those who are at very young age, where so much of this river is rushing, rivers of desires are rushing. So much opportunities given by Maya in front of them. So it is very difficult for them to take. And at the same point, another point of view from mother's side was that, see, sir, if he comes now, then what will happen to his studies? He will not study properly. He will start getting arrears. And unfortunately, that is what happened. Then immediately mother did not want to send him for the next programs. Then we requested him, at least you pass your exam, then only you can practice this. One boy, 11th standard he is studying, and somehow or other, by the mercy of Krishna, Guru, somehow he came to our Janmashtami program few years back. Without much of any interaction with devotees, he got attracted. He himself started watching lectures in YouTube. He himself started reading Prabhupada Bhagavad Gita. And then he became so interested. And then little extreme he went. He started fasting 4 days for Ekadashis. Something like crazy stuff he started doing. And mother, she said, these people, ISKCON people, they are spoiling my son. And she brought him one day here for Gaurarati. And then I was here exactly. And then she called me, no, please, no, something happened to my son. No, please, no, brainwash him. Something you do. You tell him to go to school. But mother was very pious lady. She was really pious, very nicely, how the way she spoke, how she dressed. From the etiquette, you can understand, no, people. So son was also very good, bright boy. But mother was telling, no, he is daily, he wants to chant, he is sitting in front of Krishna, and then he is keeping food, whatever I make for him, if I give to him with full plate, he is keeping it in front of Krishna and asking, Krishna, you eat, then only I will eat. So many crazy things he is doing, please you tell him to first of all focus in his studies. So I took him up, and then I kind of both balancing, I told him. Then within 1 week what they did, they sent him to a hostel far away from house. And we know today's world, no need to go to college to get spoiled. Schools are quite good enough. And what to speak of 11th standard schools, even 5th, 6th grade schools, everybody is getting spoiled. So 11th standard, and he was ended up in hostel. So nothing more to explain. He learned all the bad activities, completely spoiled. And he came back home. Mother was shocked. And still now also she is blaming us. Blaming temple. She's saying, is this what you learned from going to temple? He's telling, Ma, because I didn't go to temple, therefore I learned this. You sent me to the school, to that place where association of devotees are not there, therefore I got spoiled. At least let me go now. Still she's saying, no. And then they took him to psychiatrist. They took him for so many heavy treatments, and boy also became crazy, and then he bet the parents. So much mess happened in his life. Just a few months back, Srinivas Prabhu was also here. We met him. Very nice boy. But now completely finished. Gone. Because parents are thinking, even if he gets spoiled, I will take him to psychiatrist, but not to temple, not to spiritual life. Because this will spoil him much more. He will lose interest in leading life, material life. What he will do in his life. He will do the real thing. The real bliss is here. The real, the way how one should lead human life is taught here. Because what they are thinking as leading life outside world is simply making betterment of the ways of how to eat, sleep, mate and defend, which even the animals they do. In human life, as Prabhupada is mentioning here, they bring about disaster in the peaceful human society. What is human society? Human society means where people try to solve the problems of birth, death, old age, disease. Because in no any other species, out of 84 lakhs of species, except in the civilized human society, we see that people, they try to solve the problems of this actual problems of birth, death, old age, disease, which Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita. Unless you try for that, then there cannot be any peacefulness. It's a complete disaster. Whole life they are running for just this betterment of little bit of eating, sleeping, mating and defending, which animals they can do without any endeavor. Actually to say without any endeavor. But we are struggling so hard for this, and then entire life is over. Whatever it may be 100 years or 80 years or 70 or 50, 40, 30. So therefore, the importance of human life, the importance of controlling one's senses, the importance of bringing one's mind under control, the importance of, Prabhupada mentions in this translation as philosopher, after self-realization, the importance of self-realization is very important. The basic sambandha jnana, who am I? Who is God? What is my relationship with Him? Why I am here? Why I am suffering? Why I am undergoing all these things? What I am supposed to do? What is the purpose of life? And one very famous spiritual leader, he says, in question answer session, somebody is asking him, what is the goal of life? He's saying, throughout my life, I am telling there is no goal of life. And you are again and again asking me, what is the goal of life? Very sober way, very slowly, and everybody claps. So there is no goal of life. There is goal for this mobile phone, purpose for this mobile phone, purpose for this TV, purpose for the shirt, purpose for the table, but there is no purpose for the person who is using all these things. And people are following. People are so happy. Yes, there is no purpose. Then I can do anything. I can lead my life in any way, however I want. Then I will be happy. No. Krishna says, samadhauna vidiyate. You cannot be fixed. You cannot be peaceful. You cannot be happy. That will not happen till you are running behind all these things. Bhoga Ishwarya prasaktanam taya apahrita chetasam. Vyavasayatmika buddhi samadhauna vidiyate. When you are running behind all these things, you will never become satisfied. Pouring ghee in the fire, pouring petrol. And today's everybody is promoting this motivational speakers. They come and they are speaking. Don't just pour liters of ghee, petrol. Take the petrol pump gun and then you put directly into the fire. Let the flame burn. Dream big. You can achieve anything. Impossible is the words in Fult's dictionary. You can do anything. We can achieve anything. And immediately everybody, yes, true, it's true, correct. Because mind is uncontrolled. Same thing I remember when this one of the motivational classes was happening during my college days. So there also they were talks about this, how one should control the mind. We should control your mind. You should focus on your goal. Then only you can achieve it. There also they teach about this controlling mind like that. So there they gave one very nice example that we saw Kalidas also mentioning this, how monkey is unsteady, mind is unsteady. So they gave example that, see, monkey is unsteady. Monkey you cannot control. But what happens to a monkey which has drunk some liquor? Will you be able to control that monkey? Very difficult. Ordinary monkey controlling itself is very difficult. To control that is difficult. If monkey had drunk some liquor, what will happen? And the person was mentioning, imagine that drunken monkey is bitten by 10 scorpions. Then what will happen? It will jump vigorously from here, there. So they were saying, even that monkey can be controlled. Mind is very difficult to control. So focus your goal. Keep in your room, you have, keep some whiteboard. Put your goal in the middle. Daily when you wake up, you see that. You keep your role models in front. Daily when you wake up, you see that. Then immediately, yes, correct. Yes, motivation is needed. Even materially or spiritually, motivation is needed to do some activity. And how much motivation we get from Prabhupada purports. Then how motivated we must be in spiritual life. How many examples are there? How many instances are there that 24 hours one can be engaged in devotional life, and at the same point of time one can feel complete bliss also. In this material life, like Prabhupada was mentioning this two perspective, external life, there people are motivated, they try, they run, they do activities for 24 hours, but at the end of the day they are frustrated. They are not happy. But here we can see, even if one gets engagement in devotional service for few hours, few minutes, we get the bliss because Krishna is pleased. When Krishna is pleased, we are pleased. That is the secret. Krishna says, that this becoming calm and quiet. Materially he becomes calm and quiet. Spiritually he is active throughout the day. Every moment he is active. Krishna, what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Madchitta madgadaf prana bodhayantaf parasparam katayantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. Nityam, 24 hours a day, they are continuously discussing about me, they are relishing about me. Gopis are cursing Brahma for creating these eyelids because they cannot see Krishna. They are missing seeing Krishna for the few milliseconds when eyelids are closing. Rupa Goswami is praying, Lord, why you have given me only one tongue? If I have unlimited tongues, then I can glorify you unlimitedly. So this, because that much ecstasy is there. Everything, when Lord is sitting, that is, in that way you can glorify Lord. When Lord is speaking, by hearing that you can glorify Lord. When Lord is walking, you can glorify Lord. In first canto, 1:10-20. So this is the description when departure of Lord Krishna for Dwaraka. So after all the Kurukshetra war over from Hastinapura, even after the war over, Krishna was sometimes staying there to console Pandavas and do so many other stuffs, and then he started for Dwaraka. So there, Anyonyam asit sanjalpa uttama shloka chetasam kauravendra purastrinam sarva shruti manoharaha. Absorbed in the thought of transcendental qualities of the Lord, who is glorified in the select poetry, the ladies on the roofs of all the houses of Hastinapura began to talk of him. So when Lord was departing, all the ladies from the houses, they came to the roof and they are looking, just the Lord walking, they are looking at that and then they are talking about the Lord. And Shukadeva Goswami mentions this talk was more attractive than the hymns of the Vedas. So in today's verse also, in the translation, if you see, it was mentioned that the sage, he becomes silent and he stops reciting Vedic mantras. So I was thinking, immediately we think, oh, stops Vedic mantras, what Vedas are given by Lord? But in the purport, disciples of Prabhupada, immediately they mentions, because most of the Vedas, they deal with Traigunya Vishaya Veda, Nistraigunyo Bhavarjuna. As Krishna says, they deal with most of the Karmakanda parts. Mostly they deal about how to get material benefits or how to get some yoga siddhis or how to even get liberation of merging with the Lord. So they are not actually worthy. What is worthy, more than the hymns of the Vedas, the talk about the Lord, just how the Lord was walking. When the Lord was walking, they started talking, these ladies. So Prabhupada, in the purport, he says, in Bhagavad Gita, it is said that in all Vedic literatures, the goal is personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Factually, the glories of the Lord are depicted in such literatures as Vedas, Ramayana, Mahabharata, and in the Bhagavatam, they are specifically mentioned in respect to the spiritual Lord. Therefore, while the ladies on the tops of the houses in the capital of the kings of Kuru dynasty were talking about the Lord, their talk was more pleasing than the Vedic hymns. Anything sung in the praise of the Lord is Shruti mantra. So all the songs, whatever we are singing daily, they are Shruti mantras. Because sometimes people, they ask us, why don't you chant different mantras? These are, you can see, they are more than that. There are songs of Narottam Das, Thakur Narottam Das, one of the acharyas in the Gaudiya Sampradaya, composed in simple Bengali language. But Thakur Vishwanatha Chakravarti, another very learned acharya of the same Sampradaya, has approved the songs by Thakur Narottam Das to be as good as Vedic mantras. And this is so because of the subject matter. The language is immaterial, but the subject matter is important. So sometimes people ask us, do you know all four Vedas? Have you ever read Rig Veda? Have you ever read this Purana? Have you ever read that Purana? But all these are meant for what? To come to the understanding of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I am His eternal servant. I am engaged in this material body, in this material world. I should awaken my pure love of Godhead in this human form of life. So that is given by the simple songs also. By singing about Lord, by hearing about His glories, immediately we develop that pure love. How that song goes? Golokera Premadana Harinama Sankirtana, that is one. But by hearing the glories of the Lord Chaitanya, one develops Tarahoi Premaloi. How? Gaurangera Duti. Gaurangera? Okay. Okay. By hearing the pastimes of Gauranga, one develops pure love of Godhead. Simply by singing the songs, by hearing the Lord, even simply by remembering Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Srila Krishnas Kaviraja Goswami in Chaitanya Charitamrita, he mentions, Katanchana smrite asmin dushkaram sukaram bhavet. Vismrutam viparitam syat Sri Chaitanya namamitam. Simply by remembrance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what happens? The topmost difficult thing becomes very easily accessible. But if you forget Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, if you don't remember him, even the easy thing becomes very difficult. So what is the topmost difficult thing? To develop pure love of Godhead, to develop prema. So that becomes possible simply by remembering Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So therefore Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes only once in a day of Brahma. And Brahma's lifetime, we know, 311 trillion years. So once in a day of Brahma, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes. And he came to freely distribute this without any qualification. I will finish this. 2 days back, I was hearing one Prabhupada's lecture in 1969. Prabhupada gave this. And then we can see Prabhupada mentioning there that how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very freely he came and distributed to everyone. There is no any qualification needed. You need not to be a rich man. You need not to be a Pandit who read all the Vedas. In a lecture regarding Prahlad Maharaj's pastime, Prabhupada is speaking. So there he is saying, so need not to be a rich fellow, need not to be a Pandit. Prahlad did not add anything. Means he was a very small boy. When all the demigods, they were not able to pacify the Lord, they are asking Prahlad to go and then pacify the Lord. So Prahlad is saying, what is this? How can I? I am not powerful like them. I have not studied scriptures like them. And even I am from a very low background. But they are asking me to go and then try to please the Lord. So if they are saying like that, that means this is the qualification needed, it seems like. So then I will go and try. And Prabhupada mentions, what is that qualification? Sincerity. If we are sincere to engage in devotional service, then Krishna will help. Prabhupada mentions in that lecture that the road is wide open. Same word he says, the road is wide open. There are no any blocks. If you are sincere, Krishna will help you. But if you are not sincere, Krishna's energy, Maya, is there. She will put so many difficulties in front of you. Otherwise, there is no any qualification needed. Whatever qualification you have, with that you can serve Krishna. In whatever qualification. Prabhupada again and again mentions there. You need not develop, I have to develop this. I have to finish my degree, then only I can practice this. I have to get money, then only I can practice this. No need. But at the same time, it is not that while doing that service, you should not develop that quality. You can develop, you should endeavor for that. But it is not that bhakti is ahaituki apratihata. There is no any stoppage. There is no any stumbling blocks except us. We, as Prabhupada mentions, we hold the pillar tight and then we are saying, leave me, leave me, leave me. Prabhu, I am not able to practice devotional life. Very difficult to chant, very difficult to read. Why? Because you are engaging your time in some other things. So we have to, therefore this training is needed, as Prabhupada was mentioning in the light of Bhagavata. In the society, leaders, they must have this knowledge and then they should follow this and then they should give this training from the very young age. And Prabhupada in that lecture, in that shorts also, at the end he is mentioning, so this training, basic training is given in India even for small children. But in West you see there is no any training, no any culture. And Prabhupada mentions about brushing the teeth. He says, in my second son, when he was 3 years old, daily I used to ask him, did you brush? And then he will show his teeth. Then after checking that, I will tell him, okay, now you can eat. Means Prabhupada has mentioned this etiquette, kind of how one should lead his life. What are the even basic, simple etiquettes? These are taught from the childhood. But in your country, even this basic thing is not taught. Okay, somewhere here and there it is taught, like the Prabhupada mentions in that lecture. So, and Prabhupada finally he says, but even you people, simply if you chant Hare Krishna, then you will get everything. And the short title is this, is that chant Hare Krishna and you will get everything. So after seeing that short, I went to that lecture and very nicely Prabhupada, from the beginning, Prabhupada whenever he went 1966 or even before going to that in his books, we can see the steady message, same message without any compromise is given and for us. So therefore we can get best motivation from all these purports of Prabhupada throughout his books. And for sure, as in today's verse we saw, like how self-realized person, even though he is within among that strong waves of rivers of desire, still he is not agitated, he is not disturbed. Similarly, we can also be, but for that we have to be in the association of devotees. With their strength, with that strength, we will be able to get the real benefit out of it. Hare Krishna. So any corrections, questions, comments? Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.